Welcome everyone to the global press conference of the 50th anniversary edition of International Film Festival Rotterdam. My name is Marieke IJskoot and it's an honor to be your presenter and host for this event. We're coming to you live and direct, as well as distanced and with all required safety measures in place from the World Trade Center in Rotterdam. Today, IFFR directors Vanja Galucercic and Marjan van der Haar will reveal the festival setup in February, as well as the program. They'll announce the main competitions, the first guests of the Talks program, the recipient of the Robbie Muller Award, and of course, the opening film. Please feel free to ask questions via the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We will address a selection of those at the end of this presentation. And if we don't get around to your particular question, IFFR will get back to you via email. So please leave your address if you'd appreciate that. Thank you so much, and let's get started. Vanja Galucercic and Marjan van der Haar, welcome. Vanja, this is your first edition as festival director. Quite a challenging one to start off with, I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started, everyone said, you know, it's your first year, it's gonna be difficult, but nobody told me it's gonna be this hard. It was quite something. But yes, when I began, it was in early March. We were still feeling the strong buzz on a hugely successful 49th edition, and preparations for the 50th edition and celebration were well underway. But already around that time, we started feeling the first sort of repercussions of Corona and the first round of lockdowns in Europe as well. So I think it was quite clear that we would have to start preparing for that as well. So, of course, the whole year was quite unimaginable, but I think I can say it goes for all of us. And I must say that Marianne and I are very, very fortunate to be working alongside such a creative and skilled team that has fully embraced this challenge of having to think outside the box and really helping us overcome this period and making it far less daunting than otherwise it would be. And I think it's largely thanks to them that we are here today, so we can focus on what is most important right now, and this is the program. Yeah.
Marjan, you're the managing director of IFFR. 50th anniversary is such a milestone. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What are you particularly looking forward to?
I'm very excited about how in these strange times we can try out new formats. I think that's really amazing for all the different audience groups. And for the first time ever, we do the festival over a period of 5 months, which is quite amazing and new. So that's quite exciting. And for the International Industry Office, we will offer in February from 1 to 5 everything online, because our international guests are not able to travel. But that also gives a silver lining in that everybody can join worldwide our online industry program. And then, of course, for our audience, we have, of course, physical and online premieres. And the online premieres start a little bit after the physical premieres. And they will have a live Q&A. But next to that, in these times, I think people are very used to watch films online in their own time and place. So we grant them 72 hours to look at the film. And they can start the film whenever they like, and also have a pre-recorded Q&A with the filmmaker. So I'm really looking forward to this celebration with our filmmakers and the audience, of course.
So let's elaborate a little bit more then about, on what the festival will look like. Last month, IFFR announced a reimagined and expanded festival edition, a hybrid structure spanning from February to June to adapt to the COVID restrictions and still be able to celebrate this upcoming anniversary. Vanja, why did you and your team decide to split the festival into several parts?
Well, I think it's important to say that these were not decisions that were taken lightly. There have been implications all along the way that involved all of our main stakeholders as well. These are filmmakers, distributors, sales agents, exhibitors, and ultimately, of course, our partners and our audience. So this was quite an elaborate and complex work that the team has taken on, but collaboratively, which is, of course, again, the most important thing. And our objective was always coming to a solution that would provide great possible access, or the greatest even possible access, to the eventual program. So, of course, this took many months of many different iterations as well. But as the time progressed and the restrictions became more and more stringent, and the outlook was less and less favorable, we had to take sort of another look and adapt once more. What was very important to keep in mind was to maintain our spot in the international calendar year and keep the time in February as well. And that mainly goes for our competitions. This is a critical time for them, for their international and national launch and distribution. And it was really important to us to give these films the support they need, especially given this precarious year. So with this in mind, the February is reserved for our Tiger competition titles, the big screen competition, and the Tiger short competition. And these films will be accompanied by limelight titles as well, in order to support our national distributors. And Marianne can tell us more about the June program as well.
Yeah, June is the original month the festival took place 50 years ago. That was 1972. So we kind of refer back to these dates, and that's a wonderful. I think also in June there will be more opportunities, and hopefully we can do outdoor activities and receive also bigger audiences at that time.
Yes.
And then in between February and June, we will have targeted audience events in weekends and all over this period of time.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, indeed. Yeah. Thanks so much. You also revise, I think, the program structure. Can you elaborate on
yes,
that
indeed.
a bit?
As some of you have, I'm sure, heard already, we have decided to restructure the program, and beginning first by resizing our competitions. The reason for us to reshape these competitions is to highlight their importance within the overall program. By increasing the total number of competition slots, which is now up to 16 titles for all Tigers and also for all big screen competitions, we really want to bring more weight and gravitas to them. And also, we are introducing a completely new section that is sort of backbone of the program. It's Harbour, which serves as a free port, I would say. And it is a section without a preconceived notion about what cinema should be, but is rather curious about what cinema can be nowadays. But in these exceptional circumstances, of course, we are going to see Harbour in June. And last but not least, we are reshaping the Cinema Regained section to center around the topic of the actuality of film history. It will feature recent restorations and films focusing, of course, on film history. And it will also pay tribute to people and institutions whose work embodies this connection. And Cinema Regained will be taking place between February and June.
Thank you so much. I can't wait for all of this. I'd say without further ado, let's dive into this edition's program. First up, the big screen competition. Films from this selection are eligible for the VPRO Big Screen Award. A jury of audience members will choose the winning film, and this film will then be screened in cinemas and later also shown on Dutch television by broadcaster VPRO. In addition, the film selected to win the VPRO Big Screen Award will win a prize of €30,000, which is equally shared between the filmmaker and the distributor. Vanya, before we reveal the titles, what can you tell us about this year's selection?
The big screen competition presents powerful cinema in, to me, timeless form, more of a timeless form. And this year's selection covers films that come from all corners of the world and also explores the popular cinema. For big screen competition, we decided to no longer exclude films that already have a Dutch distributor in place. And for the other conditions, big screen remains pretty much the same. We still aim to present those films that celebrate their world, international or European premiere at IFFR.
These are the selected films for the Big Screen Competition 2021. tell us more about these films?
Yeah, of course. A big screen, to me, is the space where visionary meets popular. As you could see now in these clips, from the bold storytelling of The Harbour, or As We Like It, to the luscious poetry of Archipel and the playfulness of Les Sorcières de l'Orient and The Chamel Show. We also embrace the surreal inventiveness and often grandeur of Year Before the War, Lone Wolf, The North Wind, El Perro que non calla, and Carore, as well as the classical aesthetic clarity with which drifting aristocrats, Last Farmer, and Aurora address thorny matters like the abyss between the wealth and the poverty. And finally, it means also the sheer quirkiness and the delight in pushing the envelope of the sexual and social mores, as exemplified with droll perfection in Sexual Drive.
Thank you so much. And time already for the next competition, the Ammodo Tiger Short Competition. IFFR has a rich tradition when it comes to short and mid-length films. In this competition, the most exciting and refreshing film art of today is presented. This year, 22 titles compete for 3 equal Ammodo Tiger Short Awards of €5,000 each. Marjan, who will decide this year's winners?
Now, we are very happy to have on board Anna Abrahams, filmmaker and curator at the IFFR Film Museum in the Netherlands. Amira Gaat, curator, writer, and head of programs of Light Art Space in Berlin. And at last, Vincent Mason, an audiovisual artist and also previous Tiger Short winner with his film Ultramarine in 2019.
This year, these films are selected for the Ammodo Tiger Short Competition. Vanya, what can you tell us about this selection?
The Ammodo Tiger Short Competition is a diverse showcase for cinematic art under 60 minutes in length. And this year, we were really impressed by the high degree of social involvement, which is reflected in themes exploring displacement, gender identity, domestic violence, queer safe spaces, feminism, and colonialism, among many others. I think it's also good to mention that we have 2 films coming from the Netherlands, The Horse Journey and Er is een geest van mij.
Well done. Your pronunciation is amazing. I've read the description of all 22 of them, and I seriously want to see each and every one. Yeah. It's just amazing. And that is not even all, because we're on now to the main IFFR competition, the Tiger Competition. This is a platform to showcase emerging international film talent with a distinct and unique voice. As always, of course, the Tiger Award is up for grabs, which is accompanied by a prize of €40,000. Also, 2 special jury awards of €10,000 each are presented for exceptional artistic achievement. Vanya, as mentioned before, you've sort of brought this competition more into the limelight by increasing the amount of titles. What made you decide to do this?
Well, the Tiger competition is truly the cornerstone of the festival program, like you already said. It's the section for the most daring, unique, and eclectic emerging new voices. And to continue to be that into the future, we need to give it more body to help it stand up in the overall program. For us, it's really about giving these filmmakers a platform that will be aiding them as they get these films off the ground. Yeah.
So let's not wait any longer. Let's announce them. This is the selection for the Tiger Competition 2021.
Championnat de pipe. Et comment? On prend 32 gonzesses. On fait des poules, comme en Ligue des Champions, et on les note. C'est les 2 premières suceuses de chaque groupe, en 8e, en quart, et ainsi de suite. C'est pas nickel.
Oh, mais tu es horrible.
Faut profiter, les gars, on n'a qu'une seule vie, il faut se faire sucer.
ხო, ახლა ჩაგაჭროთ ეს ხელი ჩამომიწიე. რიგში დადეკით ახლა გასწორდით. აღარ ამიწიო. აღარ ამიწიო. არ გეტკინება, საერთოდ არ გეტკინება. ნამდვილად. ნამდვილად, ნამდვილად.
Jij was in mij, dat betekent iets. Bedenk dat ik er altijd zal zijn, dat je me niet uit kunt wissen. Hans.
Man can do what he wants, but he can't want what he wants.
Esos son los dulces de esa señora. Que no hemos tomado ningún tranquilizante ni nada y estamos muy a gustito.
Betty, yaru nga torpala.
Ja, for å synliggjøre den betennelsen som ligger over oss. Så jeg har en søknad inn hos Kulturråden også. Ja.
A on meni kaže, što plačeš? Nemoj da budeš kukavica. Pošli smo u borbu da ginemo, da se borimo za slobodu i da ginemo.
في عندك ناس بعمري بيجوا يعملوا فيلر فوالا.
Take us along in this process a little bit, Vanya. How and why did you choose those 16 titles?
Let's begin our look at tigers with a formally unlike anything we've seen so far. It starts with a Dutch entry, Feast, by Tim Leyendecker, which addresses the infamous Groningen HIV injection case in a highly staged, stylized, and fragmented fashion. I think that also, yes, sexual transgressions are at the core of Black Medusa and Agathe Moose, which offer unexpected sights and insights from the Arabic-speaking world, challenging the way these regions are too often depicted in our media.
Because there seems to be, I feel, a strong common thread between several competition titles by female filmmakers. Could you expand on that?
Yeah, absolutely. As the most particular take on feminist self-realization and anti-patriarchal action, Black Medusa also connects strongly with Mayday and Looking for Venera, both stories about female emancipation told in an achieved realist and exuberant style. And then, from historical perspective, Landscape of Resistance questions how does a woman become a partisan in the Second World War and how this choice shapes her life. And then to 3 films whose protagonists also venture on journey of self-discovery, albeit in very different styles, ranging from grit, self-aware, anything goes bravado, to Baby's dreamy retro sensuality, and the offbeat poetics of bipolar.
In Tigers, though, not all films, I feel, are about being different or about personal searching, right?
Indeed. Some films dwell on small events and gestures in a low-key, realist tone that nevertheless are all very different. There's the intimacy of friends and strangers, the breezy cheekiness of Mighty Flash, and then the unexpectedly calmer tone of Madalena, which lends its subject that is a very difficult one. It's violence against trans women, an immediacy that is quite rare in modern cinema. And similarly, Pebbles shows us that for some painful topics, the most challenging aesthetic might be the one of restraint and simplicity. And while the majority of Tiger competitors are grounded firmly in the here and now, a few search for answers in the past as well. So there is a moody and mysterious film Edge of Daybreak in the more recent, and the defiantly classical Liborio a century ago, with themes that are no less relevant today, of course. Yeah.
Indeed. On to the jury. Marjan, who will decide this anniversary's edition's winner?
Yeah, we could find a lovely jury, and it consists of Lemohang Jeremiah Mosese. He's a filmmaker and artist working from Lesotho, Berlin, and we have previously shown his film This Is Not a Burial, It's a Resurrection. And then our colleague, the artistic director of the International Documentary Film Festival Amsterdam, Orwa Nirabia. And then Hala El Kousi, she's a filmmaker and writer from Egypt. We showed her debut film Cactus Flower in the Bright Future section. And Helena van der Meulen from the Netherlands, a Dutch screenwriter who made, for instance, Sasha Polak's script on Zurich. And an industry veteran and film producer, Ilse Eugen. And we're hopefully that the jury will see all the films on the big screen to judge.
Hopefully, yeah. That would be great. I really wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I wouldn't want to have to choose. Don't forget, everyone, if you have any questions about the Tiger competition or about anything else, don't hesitate to put them in the Q&A box below. This next award was introduced for the first time last year, the Robbie Muller Award, named after the late Dutch cinematographer and cameraman. This award is granted to an image maker who has created an authentic, a credible and emotionally striking visual language throughout their oeuvre. Marjan, the winner of this award receives quite a personal prize, right?
Yes, that's right. The award was set up with the Netherlands Society of Cinematographers and Andrea Müller-Schiermar, the late Robbie Muller's wife. And the award-winning filmmaker will receive one of Robbie Muller's rare Polaroids.
That is very special. We will reveal the winner with a compilation of scenes from their oeuvre in a minute, but maybe first, why this particular image maker?
Yes, I have here the report of the jury, so I will read that out loud. And the jury sees in this filmmaker not just a liberating independence and a clarity of aesthetic vision, but also someone who in a self-evident way carries on Robbie Muller's legacy. They share a talent for depicting the American landscape in all its variety as much more than a supporting character, and for portraying humans in the most subtle and sensitive way. Both are able to visualize what can't be expressed in words by creating pristine, unforced images in which the narrative can unfold and evolve, and the viewer's gaze can wander.
This is the recipient of this year's Robbie Muller Award.
I was here 2 summers ago, totally private, no one around. And most of all, it has this otherworldly peacefulness about it. You should have been there.
Not a lot of jobs around here, huh? You can't get a job without an address anyway. Or a phone.
You can't get an address without an address. You can't get a job without a job. It's all fixed.
That's why I'm going to Alaska. Here they need people.
First of all, of course, congratulations to Kelly Reichardt. And Kelly has a long-standing relationship already with IFFR. We presented her films Old Joy, Meek's Cutoff, and Wendy and Lucy. And she's a wonderful example of a filmmaker who grew into one of the most established filmmakers of contemporary cinema. And we're very proud and happy that this year we present her latest film, First Cow, in our Limelight section.
Amazing. And that is also a perfect bridge to the next section, Limelight. Anya, please explain to us, what is Limelight?
Well, Limelight consists of avant-premieres and some of the cinematic highlights of the year, international award winners and festival favorites that will be released in Dutch cinemas after IFFR.
What are some of this year's highlights?
Well, as Limelight is above all the repository for everything you have heard about and you're now eager to watch, we don't need to say much about treats that, like the Cannes label, Sweat, Beginning. Then we have Septet, or some Venice revelations like Dear Comrade by IFFR darling Konchalovsky, or Quo Vadis Aida, or Shorta, and La Nuit des Rois. We also have Quentin Dupieux's Mandibule that features a very charismatic fly called, a monster fly called Dominique. But let's instead focus here on our world premieres that are both coming from the Netherlands. One is Mitra, the sophomore feature of Kaveh Modiri, who 5 years ago has dazzled IFFR audiences with his debut Botkin Ras. Here now he dives deep into the legacy of the Iranian Revolution and the violent suppression of those who resisted it. The other film is by one of the country's most celebrated modern auteurs. It's David Verbeek, who in Dead and Beautiful sends a group of rich youngsters out into East Asia on a trip of self-discovery that includes, among others, vampirism. And then, last but not least, we are so proud to present as an international premiere the latest work by 2005 filmmaker in focus, Benoît Jacot. Suzanne Handler marks the return to one of his original inspirations, and that is the work of Marguerite Duras, whose play he adapts here. Suzanne Handler is also a present for its star, and that is Charlotte Gainsbourg, who gives a truly career-defining performance here.
Amazing. I can't wait. The entire February program will be online right after this press conference. So do check out all films on IFFR.com. So many amazing titles, so much to talk about. Every year, IFFR invites renowned and emerging filmmakers to discuss their work. Vanya, who did you invite for the 50th anniversary edition?
In addition to Kelly Reichardt, who definitely will be joining us for a big talk, other highlights include Lemohang Jeremiah Mosese is an award-winning self-taught filmmaker who explores spiritual and political themes with minimal dialogue, poetic imagery, and preoccupation with childhood memories and identity. We are certainly keeping him busy because he is also on our main jury and is presenting a work in collaboration with I that we'll speak more about later. Then we have Dea Kulumbegashvili and composer and musician Nicolas Jarre. They will be joining us for a conversation about their creative collaboration in the making of Beginning. And finally, we are excited to welcome renowned Benoît Jacot and Charlotte Gainsbourg, who will be joining us from Paris for a virtual talk.
That is so cool. Marianne, how can the audience access these talks?
Now, the talks will be broadcasted directly from our website and worldwide, and also freely accessible. So
free of charge?
Yes.
count me in. I'm going to be there. The full lineup of this program will be announced in January. And now, last but certainly not least, let's reveal the opening film. Vanya, which film opens the International Film Festival Rotterdam's 50th anniversary edition?
The opening film for the 50th IFFR is Riders of Justice by a Danish filmmaker, Anders Thomas Jensen.
Let's have a look.
You sit here.
Mange tak.
Jeg var med samme tog som din kone og datter. Hvad ved? Jeg synes, du har krav på at vide, at det ikke var en ulykke. Du kan bare lukke røven lige nu. Hvis du kunne hacke os ind i Fitness World server, så ville der være en mulighed. Fitness World. Fitnesskædet. Nej, stenhuggeriet lander. Du skal tale pænt til mig, ellers så gider jeg ikke hjælpe. Hvad vil du bruge det til? Jeg vil hæve min kone. Jeg slår nogen ihjel før. Lad os bare være stille, så. Jeg vil bede om at finde alt, hvad jeg kan fra rockergruppen Riders of Justice. Hvor mange medlemmer de har. Hvad de er straffet for. Hvad de er mistænkt for. Navne, adresser. Er det noget, I kan, uden at ligge spor? Vi har fattet det nemmeste for dig. Det er det nemmeste for mig.
Hvad der sker for?
Ja, det er jo fordi han...
I er psykolog, ikke?
Det må man sige, vi er.
Nej.
Færdig. Anden klassen. Ingen slår nogen ihjel her. Jeg tror nogle gange, at folk med problemer har det med at finde sammen.
Min mor er psykolog og er til rådighed, hvis det endelig er.
Du er ikke afstumpet, Mathilde. Men du er tyk.
Hvad?
Ja, du er en lille tyk spejlbøl.
Der er noget, der er helt galt.
Få din kone tilbage ved at gøre det. Jeg stopper bilen, når jeg brækker din næste, jeg lover dig. Skal vi nu ikke bare få det her overstået som team, så vi kan komme hjem og få banankage? Præcis. Jeg siger bare, hun er død, og hun kommer ikke igen.
Why did you select this film to open IFFR 2021?
For one thing, Anders Thomas Jensen and his cast are genuine favorites of IFFR audience and critics alike, and justifiably so. I think few directors these days are able to mix realist narratives with genre and a dark sense of humor that puts viewer on the spot. And in a way, this is very much needed right now, with a frightening outlook of COVID-ravaged 2020 and a US president provoking global nationalism. The film takes on right-wing terrorism, conspiracy theories, and vigilantism. And we should mention that it stars man of the moment, Mads Mikkelsen, who has just taken IFFA Award for Best Actor. Yeah.
Director Anders Thomas Jensen responds to his film being selected as the opening film.
Hi, my name is Anders Thomas Jensen. I'm working here in Denmark, although we have Sweden right over there. Denmark here. But this area here is the only place that hasn't got too much of the COVID-19 right now. That's why I'm here, hiding, waiting for it to go away. But I'm here to tell you that I'm really honored that my film Riders of Justice has been chosen as the opening film for the Rotterdam International Film Festival 2020-21. It's a film about revenge, but it's also a film about coincidences, about how our lives may change in a split second. So yeah, I won't say much, but thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the film, and I hope you stay safe wherever you are. Bye.
So much looking forward to this, and we are very happy also with the distributor of the film, September Film, that the film, the opening film, will be shown throughout the country on the opening night for the audience physically, but also online. So really nice.
Amazing. before we move on to questions from the press audience, can you both give us a sneak preview of the events beyond the February part of the festival?
Now, we have, of course, several highlights because it's our celebrational year. And we have things for the hyper-local, but national and also global things. I think one thing is very nice to mention. We have also a big project in the public space. So even film people who are not able to join a film can go outside for a walk and find tigers throughout the city. It's called Tiger on the Loose, and there are all 50 objects around Rotterdam. And with a special, with your smartphone, you can trigger on the object with a web or augmented reality directly from a website. It's quite new, and you can trigger a clip of a film and find a tiger. So lots of things to find for people out on the streets as well. So I think we offer something really special there. And it's a collaboration with Studio Vollard Zwart. And at Amsterdam, the Film Museum, we have a wonderful exhibition. It's also a celebration for their 75th anniversary as well. So it's a collaboration with them called Vive le Cinéma. And we have asked together 5 filmmakers to create a new work. And we mentioned already earlier Lemohang, Jeremiah Mosese, but also Lucrecia Martel, Jajanke, Carlos Rigadas, and Anouk Leopold, together with Daan Emmen, created new works. Wow. And the exhibition starts from January the 30th, and it can be visited till May 9. So lots of things to see for the audience. And also from home. So on our VOD service, you can see 50/50 Unleashed. Yes. And those are films looking back through the festival's history. And you can see wonderful picked films from all of the editions of the festival. Mm-hmm. So a lot to experience. But we have more, Vanya.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we are certainly hoping for is that in June, we are also going to be able to welcome our international guests and offer films to larger audiences that are both locally and nationally. I have also mentioned, of course, previously that Cinema Regained will take place in between February and June, and that Harbor, our main program, will be featured in June as well. And next to that, we will also present Bright Future, which is a program dedicated to emerging debut filmmakers, and of course, a selection of short and mid-length films. And because it's also our special anniversary program, we will tap into the long and rich history of IFFR by inviting luminaries from the last 5 decades. And they will enter in a dialogue with fresh, so to speak, names and faces that do not all necessarily need to come from the film world and industry. And they will discuss the core of what Rotterdam Festival should be, not only now, but also for the next 50 years to come. So quite ambitious, huh? Yeah.
Yes, but that's what you're known for, right? Thank you so much. You can both, of course, talk about this for hours, but let's have a look at what the audience wants to know. I've got a selection of your questions here. Thank you so much. I am going to start with this one. How do you create a festival experience in a hybrid form?
Now, we talked already about, of course, the premieres, which are physically but also online with live Q&As. I think that's already an experience. But we open the online digital environment 20 minutes before the screening starts, so the audience can kind of start talking to each other and
chatting and yes,
yeah, and kind of experience it a bit more collectively. So really curious to see, and hopefully the audience takes that chance to do so. Yeah,
me too. I look forward to that. Yeah. That's very interesting. Yes. What are you organising for the audience in Rotterdam?
Now, locally, we have, for instance, always that wonderful Rotterdam Day, the RTM Day, which is for Rotterdam people, audience, but also for filmmakers. So we will have a special weekend, and that will be in April. And it's combined also with a selection of the Curaçao program. So, and that will be in Lantaarnvenster. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something which really seeks into the audience here in Rotterdam.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the nice projects also that we are preparing to kick off the 50th celebration is 100 posters. So, of course, when you're celebrating such a big jubilee, you're going to look into our archives and see how big legacy we have. So we're going to be displaying the whole 50 posters, of course, that have been created thus far. But also to become a bit more, to create a collaboration, we have decided to ask the students from Willem de Kooning Academy to imagine 50 posters for the future. So what we are going to be displaying as well alongside the previous 50 posters is their own renderings of the tiger and how the festival should look like. And those will be displayed on Pathé in the city center as well as in the Julen.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I've got a question here about the lockdown. We are currently in a new lockdown in the Netherlands. What will happen to the festival if the government extends these measures?
Oh, that, of course, first and foremost, safety comes first. So if that happens, cinemas, unfortunately, will be closed and we will be presenting all of our festival online. As we were mentioning through this press conference, we have been working throughout the whole year with that also in mind. So we have created programs and accessibility for all our national audience to be able to fully enjoy films, of course, also from the safety of their home.
Yeah. Yes. Did you ever consider postponing the festival or skipping a year? Was that ever an option? That's also a question that I've got here.
Oh, I think we have discussed it very, very briefly and understood that, no, it's where we stand in culture with cinema, what are the most ubiquitous things for us is, resilience in all this and also relevance. It's very important that we are here for our makers, for local and international makers, and for our audience. They are wonderful works that absolutely need to be presented, and we are very confident that this is a wonderful way to do it as well, to bring these incredible works to the audience. Yeah.
So that's of course very important for the audience and for the makers. But the third question I've got here is, what do you offer filmmakers now that they won't be able to be there physically in February?
Yeah, it's absolutely a different way of working with the filmmakers as well. For instance, we are already in quite complex discussions with them, because it's not the same to when you come to the festival, you experience all the buzz, the context, you're part of the momentum. Now it's quite different. So we are already actually creating this momentum now in discussing what are their biggest needs the moment the film is presented at IFFR during those days. So in a way, what we are creating for each one of the participating filmmakers is this personalized trajectory to best understand what are their needs right now, how to best connect them with colleagues from the industry, and how to best present the work once it's out there for the audience and for the industry professionals. Yeah. And by reducing the selection, what we want to do is give each of these films a much-deserved highlight.
Yeah, that was also a choice that with a limited amount, we could offer the online visibility for these filmmakers as well, because if you have such a large amount, it's very difficult to make that space for them. And we really want to support the filmmakers here.
Yes, that's one of the big aims, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the awards ceremony will take place during the February part, right? Will you be featuring the winners during the June chapter?
Yeah,
next question.
Yeah. Someone really well anticipated this. In June. So we are gonna be screening all the award winners in June as well. Hopefully, as I just said, bringing these guests also in person to Rotterdam, to present their works on a big screen, of course.
Yes, nice. So that's great. We'll also be seeing that then. Yeah. The last question I have here for now is, because of the time also, I think, what about the exhibitions and art programs? What are the plans for this?
So we started already with this nice work that Marianne has been describing, Tiger on the Loose, and of course the art exhibition in I will be taking a span over quite a few months, and then we are preparing, of course, a wonderful number of specially commissioned artworks that are all going to be on display in June, and we are really so happy to have some of the most celebrated auteurs that are also going to be present there. But all these, of course, projects demand intervention in public space, demand physical presence. So really, we had to, think very carefully at what time to present them. So these ones are going to be in June.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I wish it was June already, almost. Thank you so much for those questions. And again, if yours wasn't answered, IFFR will get back to you soon. The full February lineup is on the website right now, and press accreditation is open as well. The online ticket sales will start on Thursday, January 21st. International Film Festival Rotterdam believes in the power of film to broaden our common understanding, to boost our sense of collective, and to stimulate positive social change. The aim is not just to support visual storytellers from all over the world, but to give some light and some hope to all people, film lovers, the citizens of Rotterdam, press professionals, everyone, all people, especially in these trying times. We wish you all the best and much health for 2021, and may it be a year filled with transformation and inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and we look forward to virtually see you at International Film Festival Rotterdam 2021.